we should charge other countries, the big industrial countries, for someday being able to remove carbon directly from the air, with our Generation 4 nuclear plant providing all the free-ish electricity to all these carbon scrubbers. And we'll say, we'll make a business out of it. And there's no limit to how big these scrubbing fields can be, because we'll just scale them up as big as we need, and we'll charge the rest of the world for our services of cleaning the planet. And here's the fun part, the part that everybody screamed about. And I said that we'll do it in return for rejoining the Paris Accords. But here's the part I didn't put in the tweet. Not joining the Paris Accords the way they are, but rather redefining them. I tweeted provocatively, and many people fell into my trap yesterday, that I suggested this idea. Now, this is more of a thought experiment, but I want to add some meat to it. The idea was this: find a remote spot in America, some places away from civilization, and build a Generation 4 nuclear plant, but have lots of space allocated around it for future carbon scrubbing technology. And the carbon scrubbers are a number of startups who do this, as I wrote about in my book, Loser Think, which you should all have by now. So you could allow them all to test their things. And here's the thing: once you get the Generation 4 plant up and running, maybe it takes 5 years. You may have to iterate and before you've got a plant that's up and running. So let's say it's up. Now, I've been informed by people who are smarter than me that it's no point in having an isolated nuclear plant, because for it to operate right, it has to be connected to the grid, because it's producing power all the time, and that power needs to go somewhere. So you could connect it to the grid, even being far away from civilization. So that's just one more power line. And so let me get to the good part of the idea, because I didn't put that in the tweet, and people jumped on it right away. So here, and then I said, we should charge other countries, the big industrial countries, for someday being able to remove carbon directly from the air, with our Generation 4 nuclear plant providing all the free-ish electricity to all these carbon scrubbers. And we'll say, we'll make a business out of it. And there's no limit to how big these scrubbing fields can be, because we'll just scale them up as big as we need, and we'll charge the rest of the world for our services of cleaning the planet. And here's the fun part, the part that everybody screamed about. And I said that we'll do it in return for rejoining the Paris Accords. But here's the part I didn't put in the tweet: not joining the Paris Accords the way they are, but rather redefining them. So we would say, for example, here's our deal. We'll build a giant carbon scrubbing complex to save the world. You'll kick in so that you're paying for it. And in return, we'll rejoin the Paris Accords, but it's our only contribution. So that's the key. So we would agree, this is all just a thought experiment, right? So the agreement would be, we'll rejoin the Paris Accords, but we'll be a special partner, which is only doing one thing, just one thing. We're building this giant carbon scrubbing nuclear powered facility that could grow to any size, can scale up rather quickly. Other countries can bring in their startups with carbon stuff and bring it in. Now you may be saying to yourself, that's an impractical idea, Scott, for any one of 10 reasons. But here's the fun part. That's why it's a thought experiment. The thought experiment is this: if we take a proposition to the rest of the industrial world, and it looks like this: hey, you guys, it's great that you're trying to reduce your carbon footprint and all that, but there's nothing you're doing that will make a difference. What we're doing might take 5 years to get it up and running, might take 10, but we're doing something massive. We're doing something on the scale of a Manhattan Project for climate. We're going to do it in one location, but you need to fund it, Because if you don't fund it, we're not going to do it, and we're also not going to be part of the Paris Accords. You fund it, we'll build it. And then we'll join the Paris Accords, and we will have done, here's the fun part, we will have done more than all of you put together. And here's the great part. Suppose the United States says, we don't really even think there's a problem, because we've got a president who's called climate change a hoax. So we don't want to spend our money on it, but we would certainly spend other people's money on it. We would certainly want to spend China's money, India's money, because they're polluting like crazy. So somebody says, and Fukushima. So if anybody's new here, Generation 4 is the technology that doesn't melt down, because it can't, and it also eats existing nuclear waste as its fuel. So it reduces nuclear waste in the world while eliminating the chance of meltdown, because of the design makes that impossible. The old Fukushima type designs were the slightly more dangerous kind. Not slightly, far more dangerous, because they put their backup generators below sea level in a tsunami zone. So you can't really compare anything to Fukushima.